Good evening and welcome out everyone to tonight's tackle trading onboarding webinar. This is Coach Frank. I'll be taking you through the tackle trading website this evening, showing you around a little bit, letting you know where things are, letting you know when things are, hopefully so you can get a better idea of who we are and what we're doing over here at Tackle Trading. Let's dive right on into it. I guess before we get going too much, a couple of things I would like to highlight is the weekly Trading Justice podcast. I'm sure many of you have listened to the Trading Justice podcast each week. Each week, Coach Matt, Mark, and Tim put out the Trading Justice podcast, talking markets, talking investing, talking trading. Lots of fun, very informative, definitely worth checking out. You can catch that podcast directly at tradingjustice.com or through any of your favorite providers. There's also a really nice monthly newsletter that Trading Justice puts out each month, which is very, very solid read if you are a trader. We also have the Huddle podcast, which is a daily podcast, about 10 minutes, just tackling the top stories of the day to kind of keep you informed in as fast and easy a manner as possible. The Huddle podcast is available. You can click this link and go right over to the Huddle podcast.com, or you can listen to it on any of the major providers. So anyway that's comfortable for you, you can probably listen to either the Huddle or the Trading Justice podcast. Definitely worth, in my mind at least, incorporating into your trading routine. With that said, I always like to do that first because I hate to forget those. They're fun listens. Let's dive right into it. I break it down into three core areas when I'm trying to explain tackle trading. At the end of the day, what it really is just a community of traders that have come together to help one another out, that can lean on each other, can share what's going on, can share strategies and techniques, be a shoulder to lean on when you need to. To me, that's really what tackle trading is, but that doesn't really explain what we're doing. So I break it down into three core areas. And I call them the things that you can do on your own. That's going to be classes, blogs, things of that nature. Things that you can do with others. That's going to be basically the schedule. When are we doing things? What are we doing? And lastly, our weekend report, where we can kind of talk about what's going on in the overall market, as well as share ideas in the stock, options, commodities, and currency markets. So that'll kind of be the angle that we come at it this evening. So we'll kind of start with that first basket of things that you can do on your own. Right now, I'm just in the Trade Center here. If you go into the Trade Center, it's kind of a what's up at Tackle Trading page. What's our next show, our most recent post, latest report, latest tweet, a little watch list if you want to build one out. Either a replay or a live showing to one of our YouTube shows. Typically, that's going to be the Tackle Trading Halftime Report, but it might be this Monday night onboarding webinar. It might be the Wednesday night Trade Masters webinar as well. A little mini calendar, what the next next little while look like, where you are in any of the different courses that you might be working through, so you can pick right back up where you left off. So just kind of a what's up page, right? If you will. There's also going to be several different tools in here for you as well. In the market skyline, you will find all of the charts for the big stuff, right? Our indexes, our Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, RUT, Bitcoin, the major commodities, gold, silver, crude, nat gas, copper, etc. The sector spider ETFs. Hey, what area stood out of the market today? Was it staples? Was it healthcare? Was it discretionary? Whatever the case might be. I mean, these are things that traders are probably going to need to be looking at each day, one way or another. Doesn't have to be here, but we just wanted to get them all in one easy to read, location. You will also find a link right here in the heat maps to the Finviz heat map page. This is finviz.com that we're on right here. I am not a paid subscriber, so I have to click off some ads, which I'm all right with. This is the Finviz, the heat map for the S&P 500 for today, right? So just a visual, what did today look like in the market? Any areas stand out from, whether it's, one way or the other. It's fairly customizable. You can look at it from a weekly performance, a quarterly, a monthly, a yearly, based off of certain fundamental ratios like PE or PEG, dividend yield, how it performed on its earnings date. So a little bit of customization in there, but it's always nice to be able to see that quick visual, see if anything stood out, right? Immediately you look at this, even without looking at a chart, you knew that it was probably with all this, red, deeper red here in the energy space, even if you hadn't had a chance to look at the energy sector tonight, that pretty much is going to tell you that it was a day of selling in energy. What does that necessarily mean? Not necessarily, who knows, right? The charts are going to do the talking there, but it can be a helpful visual, at least I believe. So that heat map is just right here. And just open the heat map link. You'll find a news aggregator in here that's going to go through some of the bigger financial websites. Such as CNBC, Wall Street Journal, Market Watch, The Times, and just kind of get those headlines here in, easy to process fashion, right? So I can kind of just scroll down here, see if anything's, jumping out to me. If it is, then I can go take a closer look instead of having to bounce through, several different, sites and, a million different clicks. Just an easy to process, I guess headlining, if you will. You'll find a link to the economic calendar. So if you want to see what the economic schedule is looking like today or for the upcoming week, you'll find another link to our reports. You'll find a link to our glossary, our search function, which you can also, our search function, this little magnifying glass up here, and it is pretty smart. So if you're ever looking for something at Tackle Trading, like say information on covered calls or, whatever it might be, it is probably a good place to start. Never hesitate to ask us, but it is pretty smart, and it's probably will bring up some of the things that you are looking for. You'll find a link to a chart if you ever need one, as well as a link to our trade journals. And I'm going to head into the trade journals here. In the drop-down menu of the Trade Center, you'll find another link to the trade journals. I've always preferred to come in this way because it takes you to this video tutorial if you need it. And some of us do. Some of us aren't very savvy with spreadsheets. I am one of them. So, it was helpful to have somebody kind of walk me through. And I started using the Tackle Trading Journal instead of my, I guess kind of pathetic, in hindsight, Word document journal. But nonetheless, if we come into the trade journals this way, if you just scroll down a little bit, the first tab is going to be for the trade journal. The download will be right below that. You'll also find our theta research tool. This is where we can build out and compare cash flow strategies against one another, be it covered calls, credit spreads, naked puts, whatever. Our portfolio journal to kind of stay organized on top of things. Hey, exactly, where am I? It can be a little bit daunting for some people to stay on top of exactly how how their overall portfolio is looking. How bullish am I? How bearish am I? Right? It's not a big deal if you just got a couple of trades going, probably. But if you've got dozens of trades going that you've built over the last several months or even longer, it can be a little tougher. So the portfolio journal can be really helpful in kind of staying organized. Back to the trade journal, which is what you're seeing here. If you're not journaling your trades already, and I hope you are wherever you're doing it, I would definitely encourage you to start. It will make and save you money over the course of time. The Tackle Trading Trade Journal is pretty simple and straightforward. For the most part, we just need to tell it what we did and when we did it. Right? Today I bought XYZ. I bought the stock. Here's my date. Here's my price. Here's my position size. Eventually, I'm going to get out of that trade. It's going to do the rest of the work for us, track our P&L on the trade, let us know how long we're in the trade, let us know what our average winning trade makes us, how much our average losing trade costs us, our win-loss percentage, the big one, gross profits versus gross loss. It really is very, very helpful in my opinion. And I do strongly believe in journaling your trade. So again, that's the way, if we come into it from the Trade Center, that's what you'll get. You can also find that just in the drop down of the Trade Center tab here as well. So that's going to be some of the things that are going on here in the Trade Center, some tools, kind of staying on top of what's happening at Tackle Trading. Hopefully that helps you on that side of things. The first thing that really comes to my mind, when I'm thinking about things that you can do on your own are probably courses, and we do have several courses as well as a handful of premium systems, and I'll explain them as well. But we do have courses available to all of our pro members. Our 7-step guide to trading is kind of an intro to the Tackle Trading way, if you will, in some ways. As you can imagine, when you get a bunch of traders together, no two traders are exactly the same. But I think fundamentally, we do here at Tackle Trading share kind of an overall approach to the market. Our 7-step guide to trading will kind of take you through that from starting at the top of the market, working our way down, matching our strategy to our view of the situation, finding our trades, prepping and placing those trades, managing and journaling those trades. If you are a newer trader, this will probably really help get you going with a routine and a little bit of a template, which can be a little difficult when you're in the early stages. If you're a veteran trader, I'm sure you already have your own daily routines and weekly routines and approaches to the market, but maybe you can get a couple of ideas out of there still. I would imagine you probably can. We've got a technical analysis course. As traders, charting is very important to us, right? And that goes for cash flow traders, day traders, swing traders, crypto traders, currency traders, whatever kind of trader you want to call yourself. You are going to be using technical analysis, of course. And so the better we can get at that, probably the better everything's going to be. So technical analysis will just, talk charts, charts, and more charts, right? Very, very important part of the trading process. Options 101 is going to really focus on, what's going on when you buy or sell that option. What are the factors that are moving that option, right? An option is a lot different than a stock in the sense that if you buy a stock for 20 and sell it for 21, whether it's a minute from now, an hour from now, a day from now, a week from now, a dollar is a dollar, very straightforward, right? But options are a little bit of a different beast. There's a lot of different factors going on: time, volatility, movement, right? We need to understand why that option is doing what it's doing, or it's going to be a little difficult no matter how many strategies we try to subject ourselves to. So we're really going to be focusing on the contract itself over in that options course. If you've ever been interested in learning a little bit more about the futures or the Forex markets, we have introductions to those markets as well. Those markets are pretty leveraged, and that can be a little bit intimidating to some people. I know it was for me when I first started getting into trading. Not knowing exactly what was going on over in those markets just led me to, they might be for somebody else. But, quite honestly, they're not. And it's okay if you do. It's okay if you don't want to trade those markets. But I never want anybody to feel like that market's too big for them by any means. We do need to understand what's going on. In many ways, they're going to be very, very similar to, any other type of trading, but there are a few things that, we do need to definitely be aware of. So if you've ever had interest in getting to know a little bit more about either or both of those markets, can be a great place to start. No matter what you're trading, it's important to have clearly designed systems and rules in place, right? And our system development course is really designed to train you to think in terms of trading from a systems perspective. It's very easy to say that I've got some trading rules, I need some trading rules. We've all done it, right? So it's another thing to do it. The system development course should really help you approach your trading from that perspective. It really is an awesome course and is applicable to any type of a trader, brand new, grizzled veteran, trading crypto, out of the money credit spreads, you name it, it's applicable. So I definitely, encourage you to take some time to check that one out. We do have a handful of premium systems here at Tackle Trading. As you can see here, what they are, our premium systems is a one-time purchase. It's yours for life. Once a month, we get together with members of that team in a mastermind group. Just to quickly let you know what they are. And if you want some more information, feel free to hop over into the store or send us an email at team at Tackle Trading. We'd be happy to get you some more information. But very quickly, the Tackle 25 is a group of stocks that we put together each year to sell covered calls on. Right, big covered call traders here at Tackle Trading, at least as one of our systems. I think most of us like the idea of that. And so that's the Tackle 25. The step system is kind of our swing trading approach, standing for stop loss, target, entry, and position size. The cash flow condors is another cash flow system, this time on the Russell 2000 through credit spreads. The bear market survival guide, kind of protecting our portfolio, our longer term portfolio from bearish turns in the market, and then dealing with those bearish turns in the market when they come. Each month, we do get together with members of the team in a mastermind group. Again, if you do want some more information, don't hesitate to reach out, team at tackletrading.com, or head on over to the store. We can get some more information for you there as well. In addition to our courses, we do have regular blog content, whether it's more charting over in Tales of Technician, working with concepts kind of from the ground up with Coach Greg over in the Rookie Corner, more in the options world in the Options Theory blog, hearing from our awesome female traders in the Women in Trading blog. These are going to be short reads, right? Nothing too crazy, but just another way to share ideas with members of the team. So definitely worth keeping a lookout for those, incorporating them into your weekly routine for sure. Back over in the Trade Center is where you're going to find our tackle trading playbook. And this is where we're going to have all of our strategies and the rules for those strategies. So we'll head on over here. Tackle trading playbook. We break it down into three core areas based off of the option Greeks: Delta, Theta, and Vega. Delta is directional, right? So that's going to be buying stock outright, selling stock short, buying calls or puts, doing debit spreads, ratio spreads. Delta is just direction. I think this stock's going to go from 70 to 75. How can I take advantage of it, right? So Delta is our directional playbook. Theta, or cash flow, or time, right? The cool thing about options is we can sell them and bring in that premium and take advantage of the one guarantee, and that's that time's going to pass, right? So that's where we're using these selling strategies and taking advantage of that. That's going to be our covered calls. That's going to be our naked puts. That's going to be our credit spreads. That's going to be our condors. Basically, we're selling, we're bringing in that premium and taking advantage of time decay. And then there's the Vega, or the volatility playbook. This is where I don't have an opinion on where the stock's going to go, but how it's going to go, right? We're just coming out of an earnings season, and that's always, where my mind goes with Vega or volatility plays, into, well, who knows what kind of an earnings report, company XYZ is going to have, right? We can't know that, but we can know based off of its history whether it tends to move a lot or not, right? And so we can just do that bi-directional play to say, I think this is going to move a lot one way or the other, or kind of take the other side of that bet, right? Where maybe the market believes that it's going to move a lot, but based off of my analysis, I don't believe it's going to move a lot. So these are going to be based on the volatility of the stock, and that's what we're going to find in our Vega strategies. In all of these, you'll find a video kind of, walking you through, what the strategy is, why we would choose the strategy, what our rules for the strategy are, right? There's lots of different strike prices and everything like that, a lot of different, expirations. What are we looking for? I don't want to have to look through, hundreds of options every time I'm looking to set up a single trade. So what are our rules? We will be doing an example using the Thinkorswim platform. If you are using TOS, it can be helpful if you've never placed those orders before. There's also a little cheat sheet, downloadable PDF that's got the rules, so you can have easy access to all of that. You probably notice there's a 0 to a plus or a -3 on all of these. And that's just kind of where we see it on the spectrum of 0 is flat neutral, right? Plus or -1 would be slightly bullish or slightly bearish. 2 or -2 would just be bullish or bearish. And 3 or -3 would be very bullish or bearish. So we always want to match the strategy to the situation, right? So if you think this, company XYZ is going to go up, but it's kind of a slow mover, it doesn't have tremendous volatility typically, that might not be a +3, right? Because that's just not who that stock is, right? Or at least that might not be my read of that stock. So I want to match that strategy to my view of the situation. And that's what you'll see on that. And that's kind of where we kind of see each of these strategies along that line, along that spectrum, if you will. So that's going to be the tackle trading playbook. Right here in the Trade Center, brought up, another link to our journals, another link to our trading glossary. We'll circle back before we're done to the events calendar, and here in just a few. But that's kind of, hopefully sums up, as quickly as possible, at least, kind of the things that you can do on your own here. Now, many of the shows that we do, even though they're live when we do them, most of them are recorded and archived. So you can always go back and listen to, previous episodes on topics that are interesting to you. But we'll talk about that a little bit as we kind of get into that second area, the things that you can do with others. Let's kind of start with the day-to-day. Every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, we get together in our Traders Lounge. We get together with the team in the Traders Lounge, and we basically answer questions, whatever your questions might be. It might be strategy related. Hey, I don't know how to do a bull call spread. Will you walk me through the process? I don't know how to convert this long call into a bull call. Can you walk me through the process? It might be technically based. Maybe you got a trade setup. Maybe got a nice little breakout play that you think and want to just get some other ideas and see what if other folks are seeing it the same way. Maybe it's portfolio design. Maybe it's watch list management or daily routine. I mean, who knows, right? Trade management. I guess the moral of the story is we all have questions sometimes, right? And our lounge is really designed so we can very specifically answer our team's questions. That'll go every market morning for an hour from 11 to noon Eastern time. You're always welcome in there. Your questions are always welcome in there. Don't feel like your question's too basic. Don't feel like your question is too advanced. That's what we're here for, is to help you out, however we can. The Traders Lounge is that show that we're not going to record every single episode, because quite bluntly, no one's going to go back and listen to a Traders Lounge from a year ago, right? And that's okay, but we will, hit the record button sometimes, do a little snippet and get it posted in here. If your schedule is such that you just can never make it to the lounge live, but you have a question, send us an email. Let us know the situation. More than happy to address your question. Hit that record button and get that posted in here for you. So don't, hesitate if your schedule just, if you're at work at 11 Eastern, Monday through Friday, we get it. Just let us know. We'll be happy to do our best to accommodate you. So that's going to be the Traders Lounge every market morning at 11 Eastern. Shortly after the lounge, we head over to our YouTube channel at 12:30 Eastern for the Tackle Trading Halftime Report, live looking on the market, where we're going through that daily routine, taking that top-down approach, right? Step one of the 7-step guide to trading is starting at the top of the market. And that's exactly what we're doing in that halftime report. So, what's going on in the market today, how it is impacting our charts, stocks in the news, how are the different areas of the market looking, be it gold. Today was pretty rough. Last couple of days been pretty rough on gold, right? Bitcoin been pretty solid the last couple of days. The S&P, crude, etc. So really just working through that daily routine with the members of the team. That's live on YouTube each market day at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, about the halfway point of the trading day. So every single market day, we will be doing our lounge and our halftime report. We will be with the team, talking markets every single day. Then we're going to have our evening schedule. I guess let's kind of start with Tuesday night. On Monday nights, I do this onboarding webinar, just walking people through tackle trading who are new to the site or maybe checking us out for the first time. No two are tremendously different from one another, but if you're always welcome to attend. On Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern, we do what I would consider our flagship show, and that's the Coaches Show at 8:30 Eastern time. It is live. It is recorded and archived. So if you can't make it, or if you need to rewatch it, or if you want to watch a previous episode, what's really cool about the Coaches Show is we're a couple days into the market. It's now Tuesday night. Anything new, standing out, whether it's from a bullish or a bearish perspective, any particular sector or industry, or things like that. We can do a quick market skyline. But what I love about that, I love talking about that stuff, but I'm always talking about that stuff. So what I really think is really cool about the Coaches Show is it allows us to, there's so many things that we can talk about in the market, right? Whether it's, daily routine, what happened today, indicators, strategies, technical patterns, portfolio design, insurance. A million things that we could talk about, right? And the Coaches Show allows us, based on what's going on in the market right now and what our team's experiencing, it allows us to really narrow that down and have really in-depth conversations on just, one of those things, right? And it's really, really a lot of fun to be able to bounce ideas around, and help people kind of understand what they like, in the market, what they don't like in the market too. Both are important, I think. That's the Coaches Show. Definitely would encourage every pro member to make time each week to check it out. We'd love to have you live, but schedules are schedules, and we certainly understand it will be recorded and it will be archived, as will all of the previous episodes of the Coaches Show. On Thursday nights, once again at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do our Cash Flow Club. That one is going to be much more narrowly focused on those cash flow option strategies, as the name probably gave that one away, right? The credit spreads, the naked puts, the condors, the covered calls, right? Building and managing those trades. Because quite honestly, once you know how to do a covered call, you know how to do a covered call, right? That's not the hard part. It's learning to manage those strategies is always the hardest part, right? In just about anything, and certainly in trading. So we can talk about those things each Thursday night over in the Cash Flow Club. On Wednesday nights, we do things, we kind of have a twofer here. We do, and I'm going to come to the events calendar for this one back over in the Trade Center. On Wednesday night, here on YouTube at 7 Eastern, we do our Trade Masters webinar. A couple of the coaches will get together with some trade ideas, bounce them around with Coach Mark hosting, members of the team in the chat, and of course with one another, just sharing some ideas. At the end of it, a winner is declared based off of, who knows. So, but it's not really about winning and losing. It's about being able to share ideas and kind of talk through things. It's always fun to do that. Wednesday, sometimes, we need to add a few new things to the watch list because our Monday, things got triggered in on Monday or Tuesday, or the pattern blew up and the breakout's not happening this week, or, lots of things can happen. So it's always fun to be able to add additional ideas to your watch list. It's a lot of fun to be in the chat. It's a lot of fun to do those Trade Masters webinar too. Hope to see you over there. That's 7 Eastern on Wednesdays right here on our YouTube channel. Shortly after the Trade Masters webinar, we head back over here to Tackle Trading to do our nightly edition Traders Lounge at 8:30 Eastern. We'll answer any questions or go in a little bit deeper detail if we need to on any of the ideas that were discussed in our Trade Masters webinar, as well as just open up the floor to your questions. Right. So again, maybe you can't ever join the Traders Lounge, the daily lounge at 11 Eastern because you're at work. Well, maybe you can hop in and get your questions answered in the evening lounge on Wednesday night. So we'll talk about the setups and the trade ideas that we bounce around in the Trade Masters webinar for sure, but certainly any other questions are more than acceptable in there as well. So that's going to be our Wednesday night show. So we're really kind of heavy there, right? In Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We have a tremendous team of female traders with us here at Tackle Trading, and they will get together about once a month in their Women in Trading Mastermind group. I obviously don't get to go, but it tends to be around the end of the month. And as we get it scheduled, we will get it promoted for sure. I don't exactly know 100% what goes on in there, but I do know the team. I talk to the team outside of that Women in Trading Mastermind group. I have no doubt that they're getting a lot of good work done in there and having a lot of fun doing it. If you're a woman in trading, or if you know a woman in trading, I would definitely encourage you or them to hop in and join them. It looks like this one's going to be on the 27th this month. Yeah, it does tend to be towards the end of the month, and definitely worth checking out Coach M and the Awesome Women in Trading. If you are not a fellas like me, you'll have to find something else to do that evening, which is okay, right? Which is okay. Our mind of a trader is kind of two things, right? And again, it's easier to explain this in the events calendar. On Fridays, or the last day of the market week, which is almost always Fridays, right? Coach Mark at 3 Eastern does at the closing bell. He will present his commodity report live to the team. He does the commodity report for us, and he'll present that live in his Friday Mind of a Trader. But really, I mean, it's just a place where you can, kind of go over those last minute ideas, last minute decisions going into the weekend. Again, another place that you can get your questions answered, bounce ideas around with your teammates here. So that's our Friday Mind of a Trader. And then typically on Sunday, but the night before the market opens back up, we do have a few Monday holidays, right? So sometimes it will be Monday night, but most of the time, it's not a holiday Monday. So typically you can expect this on Sunday nights at 8:30 Eastern. We're a few hours into the futures market, right? And based off of what's happening in the futures, any ideas going into the early part of the trading week, right? And again, another place that Mark's always more than happy, just like all of us are, to answer questions to our team. So just another place where you can kind of come in, ask your questions, get some ideas. That's our Mind of a Trader weekend prep class that Sunday nights, typically at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. For any of the shows, quite honestly, the easiest way to get into them is right here in the events calendar. When it's time to hit into the coaches show tomorrow afternoon or evening, depending, I guess, where you're at. Just smack that button. You'll get the link, get all the information to get right into the show. It'll also hopefully keep you kind of organized as far as what the schedule looks like We do keep folks pretty busy around here, as you can see, which is okay, which is fine. But don't be afraid to build your own tackle trading. Very recently, just it's only been going on for a month ish. We launched our trading labs. We have our Cash Flow Vikings, Dynasty Investors, and Team Phoenix. Coach Mark, Tyler, and Emily host those trading labs. They get together each week with members of their team, and they stay in contact with their team throughout the course of the week in a private Discord channel. If you'd like some more information on those trading labs, again, you can find that if you just click on that link there. You can head into the store. You can always send us an email to team@tackletrading.com as well. That is what the schedule looks like. Like I said, most of these things, really with the exception of the Traders Lounge, and even then, sometimes we will record at least parts of it. We will be recording and archiving this stuff. So if you can't join live, if life gets in the way, if the scheduling is a problem, we love to have you live. But like I said, we certainly understand that life is life, right? And so, most things here will be recorded and archived for the members of the team. Let's kind of work into the next area, and that's our weekend reports. What we're doing here as coaches on Friday, as the market's wrapping up and we're getting ready to head into the weekend, is we're getting together in what we call our scouting report meeting. All the coaches get together. We talk markets. We talk our individual takes on the markets, how we are viewing the different components of the market, broad market, sectors, industries, currencies, commodities, trade setups that we're following going into the upcoming week. And out of that scouting report meeting comes our weekend report. That's going to include the tackle newsletter, the stock, option, commodity, and Forex reports. The tackle newsletter is, once again, we are big top-down traders here at Tackle Trading. And that's what we're doing here in that tackle newsletter, starting at the top of the market. So, what are the storylines that are moving the market right now? What's the mood of the market, right? What's the temperature, if you will? What does the upcoming, economic calendar look like? Of course, we'll always have videos and all of these going over this stuff with you. Where's the broad market, the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the RUD? How are we seeing it from a technical point of view? There are the ETFs that track those indexes in here too. If you need them or aren't familiar with them, you probably are, but they're very, very helpful things to be aware of. So in case you're not, DIA tracks the Dow Jones, QQQ tracks the NASDAQ, IWM tracks the Russell, and SPY tracks the S&P 500. These are just tracking ETFs. They're very liquid. They're optionable. Some people really like to trade them. Some people like to use them as insurance policies. So very, very helpful things to know. Coach Gino's high-low indicator that's going to look at over 8,000 stocks to really look into the internals of the market to see, is the market strong or weak or, on the fence one way or the other. The seasonality chart to let markets, it's never as easy as the fourth quarter always goes up, right? I wish it was, but historical data is historical data, right? And historically speaking, that's what happens, right? The market tends to be very strong in the fourth quarter. It's helpful to know how the market behaves any given time, right? It doesn't mean it will behave that way this year. Unfortunately, I wish it were that simple, but it's very helpful. We don't want to overvalue it by any means, but we don't want to undervalue it either, right? So, where the seasonality lies, certain, how the utility or how the sectors, sectors tend to, relatively speaking, be the strongest or relatively weakest each month. Our rankings for the sectors will be right here in our scoreboard. Kind of build it out from a football field perspective, as you can kind of see here. Each week, we're going to rank the sectors based off of the stocks that build up the sector spider ETFs, the companies within these sectors, right? So we're going to go through a lot of stocks every Friday. I can't speak for the other coaches, but I go through, 1,000 stocks, every Friday as I'm scanning the market personally. And that's how we're kind of coming up with our ratings. Between the 40s is a neutral rating, right? Between the 40 and the 20 is going to be a bullish, a plus or a +1, and 20 to the goal line is a +2. We are not super aggressive here at tackle trading. I would say it's going to be very, very rare that no matter what something's doing, that we're going to be, from a sector or an overall market perspective, a plus or a -3. That's just not who we are. That certainly isn't who I am. It's perfectly, normal to be a plus or a -3 on an individual stock. Oh, this breakout's, I love it, right? Or that, whatever it might be. But it's a little different to put an entire sector or market that aggressive, and it'll be very, very uncommon. You never want to say never, but it will be, at least if it's not never, it'll be pretty darn next to never that you'll see an entire sector or market that aggressively ranked. We'll be moving it each week, though, based off of what we're seeing on the components that are within that sector, so you can get an idea of, how at least we're seeing these sectors and the relative strength or weakness each and every week. Again, we'll be talking through that decision making process and giving you our thoughts over in the video, but this visual can certainly help. Here are the sector spider ETFs. If you're not familiar with the sector spiders, what they do, the website is just sectorspdr.com. That's the website for the ETF provider. What the sector spiders do is they go into the S&P 500 and pull out just the stocks in that sector. So XLE, for example, is the energy sector spider ETF. Go into the S&P 500, pull out just the energy stocks, and put them in their own portfolio. So this is just a look at energy versus, say, a look at healthcare versus, say, a look at real estate or a look at industrials, right? So it can help us really get a closer look at these different sectors. These sector spider ETFs are weighted by market cap, and there's a little bit of note down here about that, just like the S&P 500 is weighted by market cap. Of course, these are a product off of the S&P 500, so they too are weighted by market cap. We just need to be aware of that. You can take a closer look at exactly what that looks like over at the website provider's homepage. Again, that's sectorspdr.com if you want to take a look at that. There will be another friendly reminder to match the strategy to the situation, if you will. Here, there's also going to be some pre-built scanners. So if a particular sector has caught your attention for whatever reason that might be, we can just easily go in. Maybe you don't have a ton of stocks, or you don't want to do a ton of research tonight. We can just go in. I went into healthcare here. This will bring us to a pre-built Finviz scan. These are what I would call trader-friendly stocks. And all I mean when I say trader-friendly is I mean they've got really good liquidity, so it's very easy to trade shares. They are optionable. As a general rule, most of their options are pretty easy to trade. I wouldn't say all of them are personally, but at least I can take a look at those options. Whether it's through equity and trading shares outright or through some sort of an option strategy, I'm going to be able to set up a trade on stuff that I find in here. And that's what I mean when I say trader friendly. Just an easy way, as you can kind of see here, just the three charts. I can just easily kind of scroll through, see if anything kind of jumps out at me. Maybe I like the look of this Johnson & Johnson triple top, trying to break out, right? Maybe I like the look at Abbott coming out of this trend line a little while ago and still feel it's got some room to work its way up towards the top. I mean, obviously, I don't know about you, but I could never even dream about making a trade off of these little tiny charts. But I know what I like, right? I know what kind of patterns I like to look for. And it's very easy to kind of quickly scroll through, see if there's anything that's kind of jumping out, and say, you know what, I like it. Again, I'm a free Finviz user, so I have to click off some ads, but that's a small price to pay. If something catches your attention and you want to take a closer look, you can just click on the chart itself. That'll give you a little bit more chart to work with. It'll also give you a lot of information about the company, right? Is it, what indexes are in, what is market cap, bunch of, fundamental stuff, right? A lot of fun stuff in there. For you. Again, probably couldn't make a trade off of this, but I can look at HCA here and I say, they had this gap up on it. I know it was earnings, but I would presume it was earnings if I didn't know that. Kind of consolidating ever since. I'd be interested if we ever broke to the top of this range. Yeah, I'm going to go take a closer look at this in my own charting platform. Now, maybe you feel a little different, and that's okay, right? But just to kind of show you how that works, just smack back to screener. That'll take you back to that pre-built scanner. It's just a very easy way to quickly work through a lot of charts when you're scanning, let it stand out, right? I always tell people that, we don't have time to do an in-depth technical analysis on every single chart in here, right? Make sure it's interesting to you. You don't have to sell yourself to it. It has to sell itself to you. Is this worth taking a closer look at, right? If you don't think it is, no big deal, right? Just don't, look at something you like. So we'll have that for all of the different sectors built in here. So it can be a very easy way to look at a lot of charts very quickly each and every week. Coach Cody typically does our Forex report for us, where you can highlight, the technical patterns in the major currency pairs, talk about the upcoming news that might impact those currency pairs. He does a lot of teaching. He's helped a lot of members of Team Tackle go from never trading Forex to trading Forex. He does a great job getting people going into the currency market. So even if you aren't a Forex trader, I mean, certainly if you are, that's certainly you're probably gonna really like it. But even if you're not, it can be a great place to learn. Whether or not you choose to trade it down the road, that's your business, but it can be a great place to learn about the Forex market. As I mentioned earlier, Coach Mark typically does our commodity report for us. He does, present that in his Friday Mind of a Trader, but it'll be in here as well. Talk about, the technicals, the fundamentals, the storylines or themes that are going on in these different commodities. Does a lot of good stuff in there. Coach Mark is very much a cash flow type of a trader, so he talks a lot about selling options on these products or products built off of them, right? So even if you don't trade directly over in the futures market, there are things you can do through stock and options to take advantage of moves in crude oil or gold or copper or what have you. So he'll be talking a lot about those ideas as well. Our stock and option report, we do build pretty similar to one another in sense of how they kind of come together. So each week we're going to hop over to the option report here. Each week we're going to have a watch list of potential bullish and bearish technical setups, right? That's going to be true for the stock report. That's going to be true for the options report. Now in the stock report, for whatever reason, and a lot of times that reason is option liquidity, we just wouldn't feel comfortable or don't really like the idea of trading the options on that particular stock, right? So you might see some lower price stocks or stocks that have perfectly fine liquidity on the shares, but for whatever reason their options are just a little bit difficult to trade. There are a variety of reasons, but a big one is option liquidity for sure. That doesn't mean if you find something in the stock report, you can't go look at the option chain, see if it's something you'd be comfortable trading. But be aware that sometimes that's exactly why it's in the stock report. Whereas in the option report, these things we like for option trades. It doesn't mean you couldn't trade them with shares. Doesn't mean I won't choose to trade them with shares. But they, at least in our opinion, are perfectly fine on the liquidity side with options. We would like the idea, whether it's the price of the stock, the price of the options at the time. And so that will kind of be a big difference. Because of that difference, in the stock report, we can spend a little more time talking about the technical side of things, right? Not to say that that's not every bit as important on the option side, because it is, but in the option report, we're going to spend a little bit more time talking about the strategy selection side, right? And so kind of some subtle differences in there. In either of them, though, we're going to have a bullish and a bearish watch list going into the week, so we can just highlight some attractive technical setups. Basically do some scanning for our team, right? You don't have to like any or all of them by any means. It's perfectly fine to like what you like and not like what you don't like, but we want to make sure we are getting some ideas on our team's radar. We can kind of talk you through, hey, what's his, why is Apple here, right? I can only speak for myself, but for me, Apple's here because if it continues to go sideways, if and when it breaks out, I'm interested. I'd like to at least decide if I want to take a trade on it, because I would like to, I'm going to be interested, right? So we can kind of talk you through the ideas. When we're in the option report, we can kind of talk about some strategy selection stuff as well, right? Again, we're not going to tell you what to trade. That's not who we are, and that's not really, our place. I don't think anybody has the right to tell somebody else what to trade, but we definitely want to share ideas with members of the team each and every week, whether it's from a bullish or a bearish perspective. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight into those reports and how they are built. We'll talk you through the setups, the ideas, and things like that in the video itself. We use these trading view charts as you've probably noted, we've embedded them in a lot of different things that we're doing here, including in these weekend reports. So a couple of things to kind of note really quick. This button right here will just hide the watch list, give you a little more chart. If you smack it again, it'll bring the watch list back for you. Let's say we were interested in maybe playing into a Qualcomm pullback here. Right, we'll just go with this one here. I'll get a little bit more chart to work with. If I want to add any indicators, it's going to be right up here. Do note that it's not going to save. So I'm going to add the ATR here and just close out. If I leave this page and come back, that ATR is going to leave and not come back, right? So any indicators I'm adding will leave when I leave this page. They will not save. Just be aware. You can just hover your mouse over the kind of barrier between the volume and the indicator that I just added and hold the left mouse button down, and you can scrunch it or make it bigger, whatever you need to do on that. So you can add your indicators here. Of course, it's set up to a candlestick chart, but if for whatever reason you prefer bar charts, I know there's still a few bar chartists out there. You can switch that over fairly easily. It's defaulted to a daily time frame, but maybe I want to go take a look at the weekly chart to see, what does it look like on the weekly? Okay, we don't have really a lot of, any real major resistance. Looks like we got some up here at about 160 and some at about 167, 168, right? So I can look at a longer time frame. I can look at a shorter time frame. Right, it's pretty handy to be able to kind of change those time frames for whatever reason. Your trend line tool is going to be this one right here. This is where you can draw your trend line. So we got the downward trend line there, or if I wanted to draw horizontal right here, so kind of got kind of broke out, kind of pulled back and kind of doing a little bit of a flaggy type of action going into that old resistance here. So your trend line tool is there. If you don't need it, you can just left click it, hit that trash bin, and that'll get rid of that for you. Let's say we're interested in coming into these guys, but we would like to see it take out that Friday high. Right, so we kind of, big old hammer here on Thursday, tried to get going on Friday, but just kind of gave up and called it a day early. A little inside candle action going on here today. So just for argument's sake, and just as an example, of course, let's say I'm kind of interested in working into Qualcomm, but I want to see it kind of take out that Friday high. So this guy right here is where I can build a long or a short position. All right, I'll get rid of this one really quick, and we'll do that one more time. So I want to kind of see what a trade on this might look like. So I'd look to come in right here, 148.51. I'd like to get my stop loss below this hammer candlestick, right? Maybe you would like to get your stop loss below today's low, right? We can kind of build it up. We know we have that old resistance, right? I'm going to kind of scrunch this. You can do a lot of scrunching to get this chart where you want it to be. All right. Maybe you like coming up into this 160 for a target price. There we go. And I can kind of take a look and see what that trade looks like. All right. It looks like if this was the trade, and I know I wasn't super specific because really this was just an example to kind of show you how to use this. But using what I used here, if I came in here with my stop loss down here and set up my target up here, that's a $1 risk for $2.52 potential profit. Right. So I'm comfortable with that risk to reward. Most traders, at least most traders I know, ask for at least $2 of potential profit for every dollar they're risking. I'm certainly in that school of thought as well. Maybe you say, Frank, I don't think we can get back up there, but I don't mind trying to get to 156. Right. Well, you can see, your risk to reward here would be risking $1 to get $1.73. But maybe if you moved your stop loss up and used today's low instead of the low from Thursday, the actual low, well, maybe you can make that risk to reward work. So it's very handy to kind of prep your trades out, get an idea of what your risk to reward is, all of that fun stuff. Very, very helpful on that side. You can do that for both the bulls and, of course, the bears as well. There are a lot of other things that you can do in this trading view, but those are just some big ones I wanted to highlight to you. You, like I said, you hold your mouse down, you left click, and you can do what I'm doing here, back and forth. Do it up here in the numbers. I can scrunch it down. I can scrunch it up. I can scroll my mouse up or down. So you can really get the trade built or the chart kind of set up to where it's visually appealing for you. Uh, so hopefully that gives you some ideas of these built-in charts. But again, we want to make sure we're giving our community some actionable ideas each week, right? It's going to be based on technicals, right? We can share those ideas. It's up to you. No one's ever going to make me trade something I don't want to trade, right? But I'm never opposed to getting a trade idea from somebody, not at all. And so, as a matter of fact, I want people to share their ideas with me, and some of them I'll steal, and some of them I won't, and I'll be thankful for all of them, right? Whether I take them or don't, whether they work out or they don't, that's a trade idea that I didn't have to go digging around for, even though I do like to go digging around in charts. So that's going to be the stock and the option report. We'll also take an opportunity to do a little bit of teaching in there, whether it's, strategy selection, particular strategies, management of the trade, entry techniques, right? All sorts of fun stuff that we can talk about. We'll always take a little opportunity to do a little bit of teaching in those reports as well. You can expect them to you by Saturday afternoon, so you have plenty of time to get through any or all of them before the market opens back up. And that is our reports. That is the weekend reports. I always encourage folks to start with the newsletter because that's the top down, right? It doesn't matter that I really like to trade stock. I really like to trade options. That's fine. I'm entitled to like what I like, right? But I do think we want to take that top down approach. We have our Tackle Today daily email. If you would like it, if you just hit Tackle Today, you can sign up for right in here. We'll also post it in here as well. It will get to your inbox faster, but if for whatever reason you just prefer to read it in here, you can do that as well. We are active on all of the major social media platforms. On our YouTube, we've got our live, halftime report, our Trade Masters webinar. We got a lot of other videos, content over there as well, a lot of how-tos, walkthroughs, Thinkorswim tutorials, and we're always looking to add more. We've got a presence over on LinkedIn and Instagram. We've got our own Facebook group of Team Tackle members that can bounce ideas around over there. If you're a Facebook user, over on Twitter, we can, share, attractive charts. I'm a Twitter guy myself. Upcoming earnings and stocks in the news, what's going on here at Tackle Trading. Just another way that we can, stay connected with the team. So if you're using any of these platforms, I certainly invite you to join us and welcome. Would certainly welcome you, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Hope to see you over there. Never hesitate to send us an email if you need something, if you're lost, if you need some help. We're not hard people to find, and we're happy to help. Team at tackletrading.com. We also have our own personal social media, if you will, in the clubhouse. That's just us, just trading, where you can ask questions, bounce ideas around with other members of the team. So I certainly invite you to join us over in the clubhouse as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude this for the evening, but I do hope that it helped you have a better idea of what we're doing and where you can find it here at Tackle Trading. Don't be afraid to build your own tackle trading. Everybody's going to have, their priorities, right? If you're brand new, you're probably going to do things a little different than somebody who's been here for 5 years. There's nothing wrong with that, right? If you are primarily a cash flow trader, you're probably going to gravitate more towards the options report than, say, the stock report, right? And that's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Don't be afraid to build your own tackle trading. Don't be afraid to lean on your team. Like I said, we can never make our trades for each other, but we can always be here for one another. If you have a question that I can help you with, I'm happy. And I would imagine you'd probably say the same to me. And that's what I love about Tackle Trading is everybody here is on the same page in that regard. We just want to see each other succeed in the market. That's all. I want you to succeed. I want every member of the team to succeed. I have no problem if you are better than me or worse than me. That's not what it's about. We're all on the same team here, at least as far as I'm concerned. Never hesitate to lean on your team if you need to, whether it's in the lounge, send us an email, hitting me up on Twitter, send us, popping into the clubhouse, talking through in the lounge, whatever it is. There's lots of ways to reach out and never feel like you can't. That's what we're here for. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll let you get out of here tonight. But I thank you so much for your time, whether you're just joining us and have recently become a pro member. Awesome. Great to have you. And I look forward to getting to know you more and more as days turn to weeks and into months. If you're just checking us out, seeing what we're all about, I certainly appreciate you spending some time here as well. always standing offer of a free 15-day trial will be in the description of any of our YouTube videos. So you're always welcome to come in, see what we're doing, see if it's a good fit without having to make a huge commitment. So hopefully I will have a chance to get to know you as well. Either way, I thank you all so much. Get out of here and have a great rest of the week, both in and out of the market. And I will be looking forward to seeing you all again